The most iconic photograph of the 20th century's greatest scientific mind was born entirely out of pure, deep annoyance. For decades, Albert Einstein was the face of global intellectual authority, known mostly through stiff, formal portraits that emphasized his Nobel Prize-winning status. He redefined the mechanics of space and time, but that global triumph brought an unyielding spotlight that tracked his every move. The pressure peaked on March 14, 1951, as he wrapped up a lengthy 72nd birthday celebration at the Princeton Club. After years of fame, Einstein had reached a point where he could no longer attend a private dinner without a press gauntlet waiting for him at the door. The event finally concluded, leaving the aging physicist physically drained and longing for quiet. But between him and the exit stood a densely packed wall of reporters. As he waded into the mob, the photographers shouted over each other, aggressively demanding he smile for the evening editions. He had fulfilled his social obligations for the night and wanted nothing more than to retreat to the comfort of his own home. Corner an exhausted 72-year-old man with the aggressive flashbulbs of the American press corps, and the tension is bound to break. Pushing past the shouting crowd, Einstein slid into the back seat of a waiting vehicle, hoping the ordeal was over. The reporters followed right behind him, pressing their lenses tightly against the car windows as flashes illuminated the cabin. Stationed perfectly in this chaos was Arthur Sasse, a wire photographer for United Press International. Sasse was equipped with a bulky speed graphic press camera, which relied on single-use, oversized flashbulbs that were slow to reset. Pushed to his absolute limit, Einstein refused to offer a pleasant grin, but he also kept himself from losing his temper. Instead, he leaned forward and delivered a swift, sarcastic gesture, sticking his tongue out directly at the glass. Because the journalists were pushing and jostling so heavily for position, nearly everyone outside the car missed the expression entirely, but Sasse held his focus and triggered his shutter at the exact right millisecond. In a singular moment of irritation, Einstein inadvertently handed the media the defining portrait of his life. After developing his negative, Sasse brought the striking print back to his bosses at the International News Photos Network. Looking at the image, the editorial desk hesitated, unsure if they could actually print it. The concern was grounded in respect. This was the architect of relativity, a revered intellectual, and the capture showed him looking entirely absurd. After weighing the risk of offending their famous subject against the magnetism of the shot, they chose to send it out to the wire. The newsroom decided that a raw human moment held more value than protecting Einstein's academic dignity. When the photograph hit the papers, the public waited to see how the famously private genius would react to the breach of decorum. He didn't issue a denial, he didn't threaten litigation, and he demanded no apology. He actually loved it. He immediately contacted the agency to request 9 personal prints to mail out to his friends. The picture captured a truth about him that stiff portraits missed. He possessed a deeply playful streak. This was a man who famously refused to wear socks because he found them inconvenient. Away from the cameras, he firmly believed that a quiet and modest life brought more joy than a constant pursuit of success. By ordering his own prints and distributing them as a joke, Einstein took the power away from the paparazzi and owned the image on his own terms. Sasse's photograph replaced the image of a remote, unapproachable mastermind with someone who looked and acted like an exhausted relative. It provided the visual blueprint for the quirky, eccentric genius that still dominates pop culture today. That original signed print has since become a highly coveted artifact, recently selling at auction for over $72,000. His theories mapped the curvature of the universe, but this specific act of defiance made a world-renowned genius feel approachable. One of history's most recognizable images was born from the simple fact that Einstein was too tired to perform for the camera.